Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Couchriffs Podcast, number 272, and my guest, Duff McKagan of Duff McKagan. He's also got this other little rock band that he does on the side. Where do I even begin? If you are listening or watching, you know, he certainly doesn't need my introduction, but I'll do it anyway because this is my fucking podcast. So, what? I've been knowing Duff for 25 years through a lot. We've played a lot of music together. I've had some of my most favorite and memorable experiences with him or through him or simply because of my friendship and association with him. And, you know, when I moved back to Seattle last year, I was really welcomed by so many people. And, you know, out of the blue, Duff called me and invited me to play bass in his solo band and get ready for the Easy Street thing. And then the Jimmy Kimmel thing came. And the long and the short of it is, he trusted me to play his music and perform his bass parts, and that held a lot of weight with me, and I'm eternally grateful to Duff. I've learned a lot from him over the years, and I've been a good friend to him. I haven't always been a good friend to him. As you know, as friends are, you stay friends even when you're doing your best, but sometimes your best fucking sucks. But then there's always tomorrow. I fucking love this man. He is the Prince of Seattle, and I'm really excited for the upcoming tour. Duff McKagan will be touring Europe through October, and in the United States in November. We're going to kick it off in Dublin, and we wrap it up in Seattle. What a really exciting time. Next year, Duff will be up to some other things, and we'll fill in the blanks where we can. I hope that you enjoy this conversation. I really appreciate what an open book Duff was, and he shares vulnerable things about himself here. He typically is pretty open about those sorts of things, and that's something that I think is really admirable. So I hope that you enjoy this conversation. If you are struggling with any sort of depression, if you have mental health issues, do not try to sail those seas alone. Find help that works for you. Find the best help that you possibly can. Because you have two options. You can continue on or the unthinkable, and it's always worth continuing on. You know, I love Duff McKagan. He's like a brother to me. So if you are enjoying the Couchriffs Podcast, please, as always, consider supporting the podcast and the cover song video project on Patreon. Patreon.com/Couchriffs. That's the only place where Couchriffs can generate funds that help support this space and that help keep me living indoors. It also supplements my ability to live. I sink a lot of hours into this. I'm committed to growing this and making it bigger and better all the time. Hopefully with Patreon support, that will continue to happen. So thank you if you are already supporting. Thank you if you choose to support. Thank you for watching and listening. I really appreciate it. Lastly, I want to say, don't forget the golden rule. Treat people the way you want to be treated. You don't know what people are going through. People might be having the shittest day of their lives. And, you know, the slightest awful thing that you say to them could have an awful impact. So don't be a dick and treat people the way you want to be treated.
Yes.
This right now, Duff, welcome to the Couch Riffs podcast.
Thank you. I have done it before.
Well, you did
I was
couch
the original
riffs.
guy. Let's just be.
You did couch riffs.
Whatevs.
Not the podcast.
We talked.
Through an effort of patience, I was able to angle you onto the podcast as a speaking guest.
Sure. I actually asked you.
I know. That was my act of patience.
Jay, do you want me to do your podcast or what's up, man?
What? You're like, what's up? Why haven't you invited me? So after knowing you for almost 25 years, having you do this next thing brings me it will be one of my life's great pleasures.
Oh, geez.
This is the way.
What thing are we doing? Just a podcast?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
yeah, keep your clothes on.
This next thing I'm going to have you do is going to bring me great joy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the way I open up all of these is I have my guests say their name and explain who they are. And obviously, for obvious reasons, this one is particularly fun because there aren't going to be very many people, if any, who don't know who you are.
Well, my name's Duff McKagan. As of late, I'm a vacationing resident of Seattle, vacationing because I've never really had, except for COVID, which doesn't really count because I've been able to go to gigs and stuff this summer. I had a couple of months off here in Seattle, Washington. It's been real nice. So I'm that guy right now, very tan, a lot of cardio, a lot of gym time. But before that, back in 1979 or so, I played my first punk rock band, my first band called The Veins. I played bass in that band. I moved on and went to guitar. Oh, no, I played drums in the Fastbacks, and I played guitar in the Living. I played drums in the Farts. I played in a lot of bands. I played drums for a lot of people. Even a bit with Eddie P. Hewlett's and Silly Killers. Played guitar in a lot of bands. The Farts morphed into the Living got Greg Gilmore in as the drummer. We found Greg Gilmore through a thing we put up in the record stores. You take a tab, drummer wanted. And we found this Bill Bruford, like King Crimson drummer from Oak Harbor, who came up and he was just like, completely different. And so the Living was this band that we were trying to write like real songs and stuff, like, okay. And we were growing up, we were like 17, like, let's have a political voice.
Grown.
Let's have concurrently I was playing in the drums and the Farts, and Paul Soldier was in the Farts, and Paul Soldier and I would play guitars together, and we just kind of came up with this moment, like, if we got Greg Gilmore and the both of us play guitar, get Dave Griggs on bass, who played like space lines were like Alice Cooper, like first Alice Cooper era, Killers era bass playing.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Very cool.
So now drop that in the punk rock scene of 1982. And that band's going to look a lot different with Greg Gilmore playing drums. And we said, go for the more Bill Bruford, go there. We slowed things down. We got this singer called Steve Verwolf. And he was a punker kid, like grew his hair long, and all he had was like leather pants, no shirt. He'd pour like silver paint on him. It was amazing. No shoes, and we were like this crazy, slow, heavy, weird rock band called 10 Minute Warning. So that was that. That band kind of ran its course. The heroin came into Seattle and really kind of decimated my crew of people I played with and everybody I hung out with. And so I was kind of stuck there alone, like, and I made a decision to move to Los Angeles, California. My car really was my car's decision because I had a Slant 6 Maverick, 1971, that I bought for $300. Great car.
That's a lot of money for a car back then.
It was. I had a job, I had my jobs. Yeah. I had to save up big time. Anything I bought, like music musical instruments. That's a whole other story. That's another podcast.
Let me ask you a question real quick.
That's another podcast.
Did you have some coffee on the way over here?
I did not.
That's a super long explanation of who you are.
I'm trying to get there. I know, but I'm giving you the whole thing. Is this interesting or
no? It's great.
Should I just
no? I love it.
Moved to Los Angeles. I was going to tell you how
California?
I got there. Yes, it doesn't matter how I got there. Met some guys, and we formed a band called Guns N' Roses, and that has been the thing that I've done. Pretty much, there was a little blank spot in our history as far as I'm concerned. I'm involved, but we've been out touring for the last 8 years, and we did it back then. We toured a lot back then. In between that time, had a little band with you called Loaded. I had a band with Steve Jones called Neurotic Outsiders.
Yeah. A band called Velvet Revolver.
Had a band called Velvet Revolver.
Pretty good band.
Played in the Walking Papers. Played bass with Barrett Martin, which is a really cool thing if you ever get a chance. And Jeff and Ben are killer, but playing with the bass. Bass is kind of like the lead instrument in that band, or was at least for those first 2 records.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. And I make my own records. I have a couple of records out. And I have my own studio here in town, and just been it's been a savior through COVID. Having the studio, like COVID hit, I'm like, well, my studio's up and running. So okay.
You've hit on a few things that I had the intention of asking you about and trying to dig into.
I'm done.
I was going to cut you off.
I did not have coffee before I came here.
It's great.
Mm.
One thing I know about you is that you do a lot of interviews and interactions and whatever, podcast, everything.
Mm.
And you know how to tell a story. What I want to do is I don't want to talk about the shit that you talk about with other assholes. I'm my own asshole.
Yeah, okay, good. All right. Yeah.
You talked about doing a lot of cardio here. And because it's a thing that's important to me this year, I want to talk about fitness and wellness.
Yeah.
Physical and mental.
Yes.
I want to talk about, and I have a couple things to touch on.
Mike, how's my hair? Speaking of
beautiful, gorgeous.
Okay,
gorgeous.
Good.
It's luxurious.
Great.
It's voluminous.
Sometimes because I never look at myself, I really don't look at myself in the mirror. But I'll sometimes see a picture of myself like, what the fuck is going on with your hair? Like, check your hair once in a while or something.
That's why I put grease in my hair and I push it back, and I never have to ever worry about it.
Go ahead. We're going to talk about the things you want to talk about.
Okay. I want to talk about productivity. Because I have, obviously you are living your life, just like I'm living my life. Everyone else is living their life. And you just are trucking along. But my observation of you is different than when I met you in many ways, not entirely. But when I met you, I wasn't immediately intimidated about becoming friends and joining a band with Duff McKagan of Guns N' Roses, because you didn't look like Duff McKagan of Guns N' Roses. You looked like some other dude. Like, I didn't even recognize you, right? You didn't look like the guy that I grew up reading about in a magazine.
Mm-hmm. Physically, I didn't look like
that's
that person.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you had your hair cut short, and you were, wearing cargo pants to college. You were going to college.
Yeah.
Right? You were studying. Like,
cargo pants are really in then too.
That wasn't a dig, but it was just like, it was more of it was a vehicle for delivering the idea that you were a common man, sort of.
Yeah.
Right? Like you were doing it.
I really tried to, the common man. Well, I've always been a common man, but I was just trying to chill out things around, see what life was like. I was newly sober, still in my first few years of sobriety, and see what life was like on just like life's terms, like that classroom's terms that I was going to. What's life like there?
Right.
Not, hey, there's the guy, you know.
Well, also, let's be honest. Most of them didn't know who you were, right?
They're too young.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is a thing that I've learned in 25 years of friendship with you. Some of the things I've learned is, you know, if you're doing a thing, do it.
Yeah.
Like, don't phone it in. And you
Right.
didn't phone school in.
Right.
Like, you probably could have, you know, like you were in a position where you might have been able to, you know, not work as hard as a 20-year-old going to school. But I watched you,
Yeah.
and you busted your ass and put in your time.
Yeah, I did have to work harder than them because I hadn't studied. And I mean, they say you stop studying at 18. I stopped studying at like 15. You know, really, like, so getting study habits back and like, so I would actually just work way too hard. I would read all, I would highlight everything, take notes. I'd write these papers that were, you know, I'd have to edit down from 40 pages down to 10, you know, like you're working too hard. And I got to know how to write a 10-page paper in 10 pages, you know, eventually. But I had to learn a lot of things. So I was working harder and I wanted to learn all the stuff they had to teach me. So that's why I was there.
Yeah. At that point, you had recorded 2 solo records, one which was released and one which still has not been released entirely, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one loaded record, live record, and we met. You were making the first load. You were making Dark Days.
Right.
These days, I feel like you are hyper productive. Maybe it's my perception, but I feel like every other day we talk on the phone and you say, I have a new tune.
Yeah.
And you're excited. And this many years on, it's exciting to me, and it feels infectious to hear you excited about writing. And I'm curious, like, I didn't perceive you as that prolific when we met. You were like making music, but you were focused on other things. You did Velvet Revolver.
Yeah.
Like going on tour, you don't have the luxury of being prolific. But now you're a machine, and it's going, and you're inspired. And where does that come from? Like, how do you?
Well, I mean, I've always tried to write songs, and you know, I really started to develop a writing style. Not the first record, not Believe in Me. That was just kind of like a miasma of aggression, you know, and drugs and alcohol. Yeah, man. I mean, you can hear it in my voice. It's incredible. But I mean, through all of that, there's actually some well put together little songs there, you know. And
Jeff Beck cameo.
Jeff
Beck cameo.
There's a lot of cool cameos. Jeff Beck, yeah, cameo. Lenny Kravitz in there, you know, at the beginning of his career. And, you know, when I got sober and I started writing songs for what became Beautiful Disease, a record that never came out. And there were some things in there. I'm like, there he is. There's the guy that I was trying to be. Not talking about myself in the third person. But what happened, Mike, was after Loaded, I think I'd write my riffs like loud on a guitar amp at rehearsal, right? Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. It's a great way to do it. Drummer there, always, you know. And sometime in 2015 or 14, I sat down with an acoustic guitar and started singing and playing, the guitar was hitting me in the chest, where it usually sits, kind of up against your body somewhere. And that was informing me where to sing, you know? And the first time I've ever listened to the guitar to like, okay, you don't need to go reaching up for and you don't got to scream. You don't have to. Once I kind of started putting those two things together and these cool chords, you know, like, you know, if you turn major into a minor and like thing, and you don't have to make a bunch of big moves on your hand, on your left hand. And I was just kind of started playing these chords into my boxes, a couple of my weird Duff chords, but and these melodies were coming out, and all the reading I do, book reading and stuff. I have great authors that I aspire to be as good at writing one sentence. I hope to be one day as good of a sentence as Cormac McCarthy. Probably will never happen, but I tried that with I tried that with my first book and my second book. I'd read Cormac and I'd read Scott Fitzgerald and Ernest Hemingway while I'm writing. It's like listening to really good music when you're writing music. So these two things kind of converged: the literary stuff and the songs, and I started writing, and the first kind of bit of that was the Tenderness record. Then throw a wrench into that, like Shooter wants to produce it. Hey, let's use my band. And I've seen his band. I'm like, well, that's pedal steel and that's violin and that's, I'm open. Let's go. And it was just completely new, same songs, same 3-chord songs, but just a little bit in that world. A really fun, very joyous record to make, very cool band to go tour with. They were my band on tour, and just open, I started to really try to figure out how to sing live and keep my voice and not push. And that has a lot to do with keeping your voice. I found out. And that singing has also helped me with my Guns N' Roses backup singing, which I always took seriously, but now it's kind of next level. Like, I want to be the best that's out there, or our little group of backup singers in Guns N' Roses. I want us to be the best.
Yeah.
The best. Don't just phone it in. Like, singing and playing guitar and just writing. And so the more songs I wrote, the more confidence just begat more writing. And I just keep coming up with these damn melodies in my head or some line, and the line will go to a melody, and I'll sit down with my guitar, or something will happen, and that affects me, and I'll write. I'll try to sit down and write. And I had a panic attack, and I sat down with my guitar, my new refuge, and it got me out of my panic attack. I wrote a song about having a panic attack. Basically,
that's one of my favorite songs to play with you. I really love that song.
This is the song, yeah. And literally, like, this is the song that's going to save my life. As I scraped for sanity, and I sat there, and I was having a full panic. My shirt was off. Susan was upstairs. I didn't tell her, suddenly everything started to lessen. And so that's been my new tool when panic attacks try to rear their little ugly head at me. I have my guitar.
It feels like, there's a lot of honesty in all of your late era of solo songs, and it even started to happen in in Dark Days. The Taking was pretty dark.
Yeah,
it was a pretty dark record,
yes.
Right? But when you were recording Tenderness, it's vulnerable and honest, and
right.
I really connected with it a lot.
Oh, good, cool.
Yeah. And seeing that band was inspiring. I saw you guys play in New York. It was amazing.
Right, really great band.
It's definitely put the fuel in my tank for the new band to be great.
Yeah, we must be great. That's all there is to it.
There's not an option.
It's not an option.
Right.
So we'll go in and rehearse, and we'll have it down. I know everybody. The cool thing is, and people watching this podcast or listening or whatever you do, try to surround yourselves, because I do, with people that are as motivated as you are. If you want to do something great, at least what you perceive as great. You want to be really good at what you do. You can't do it alone, especially in a band situation. That's actually impossible to do it alone. But I got you, and I've made you the musical director because I know how seriously you take these things. And you don't just start at rehearsal day one. Like, how's that song go?
Right.
You start 3 months, 4 months before getting, stems of the vocals and the things, and here's your part, and this is that. Maybe. And then we've gotten guys in the band that are also doing the work way beforehand. We start rehearsal when we start, 4 weeks before the tour.
Yeah.
But I think everybody is probably,
We've already been preparing. Yeah.
we can probably play a gig in a couple nights.
I think so. Yeah. I have that confidence. Let's go down the list of players category, let's go down the list.
Yeah.
Let's start with Musburger.
Yeah.
I've been seeing him for years.
Yes.
He played in the Posies, which is a band that I really loved.
Right.
And has been the drummer in the Fastbacks, which you guys share that. You have that in common.
The first.
Of course.
Yes.
Of course.
So whatever, Mike.
He's getting your sloppy seconds.
Oh, he wasn't even the second.
He was the eighth. I jumped over it and you ate it. So we have Mike Musburger.
Yeah.
We have
Mike Musburger, a solid veteran touring guy, understands what it's like to be in a band. That's very important.
Super important.
Yeah. I mean, if you're 21 and don't understand being in a band, you're not going to be in a band much longer.
Probably not.
Sorry to tell you. Yeah. Tim Giulio. Rock Tim.
Rock Tim.
Seattle's best kept secret. A guy who grew up with Mike McCready and the Friel brothers in that group, started playing guitar at 24?
Yeah, late bloomer.
I can do this, I think.
Yeah.
Gets a guitar and starts just shredding Mick Ronson stuff, whatever he does,
I remember seeing him, he played the first show that I saw when I moved to Seattle.
Oh.
I went, Lazy Susan was opening up for Sweetwater. That was the first show I saw when I moved here. And I remember, really being into the band, but not, and it was it was perfect. He played for the song, but I wasn't particularly, dazzled or anything by his guitar playing. The band was great. What I didn't realize was that, that's not the point. I didn't realize that, not dazzling people that's not a failure. Years later, I saw him play in Flight to Mars, and I walked up to him after, and I was like, I don't remember you being this good. And he was like, yeah, I don't know. I just play a lot, I like to play the guitar.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit.
Right.
He's great.
And it depends, like you said, depends on what kind of band you're in. I mean, it's those guys who don't dazzle you and they do something out the last note of a bar. You're like, oh, he understands everything, and it doesn't have to be a whittly.
It's like how Cormac McCarthy will wrap up a sentence and
Absolutely.
leave you gut punch.
Leave you stunned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a great segue to Fielder.
Right. Yeah. So Tim played on a lot of the my recorded stuff. So during, like I said, I got my studio up and running. I'd recorded some songs. The pandemic hit. Guns N' Roses. We were about to go out and do a whole world tour, and that we came back and tried my studio. We decided to get Tim in there to play some leads on a couple songs.
Yeah,
just play on some stuff, and then that became. He played on all of it.
Right.
So there's Tim, and he's going to be in the band.
Yeah.
Tim and Mike, we got, and then go have Jeff Fielder. Yeah. So Jeff Fielder is going to play. He's a lead guitar player of a audacious lead guitar player.
Yeah.
He can be if you want him to be. He can
devastatingly tasteful player as well.
Devastatingly tasteful. Yes. Will not overplay. Unless, of course, maybe you ask him to.
Right.
But yeah, he plays keys. I don't know what he plays.
He plays
everything.
like whatever he touches, it sounds good.
Yeah.
He just has that connection to whatever the interface is. He just like figures it out and he's like, oh, I know music.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
He's an expressive musician.
Yeah. So getting him in the band was kind of like a really nice coup, I think, just because he can do all those other things, those sparkles and, you know, that are on some of these songs. And if we're playing songs from Tenderness, we don't have Aubrey playing violin.
Right.
But we have this nice substitute of some other sound.
We also don't have steel guitar, and he can cut, like, he's covering keys.
Yeah.
Slide guitar.
Yeah.
Other electric guitar, and he can sing quite well.
He play acoustic guitar quite well too.
He can do things well.
Yeah,
music. He's good at music,
and he sings great. And that's the thing, you know, about being in this band in particular. Everybody's got to be able to sing because there's so many backing vocals that are really parts. You know, it's like I don't know how to play keys, but I sure do know how to layer some backing vocals and make it sort of a key part. You know. But you get into a band, so you're like, oh, we have to have all these backing vocals, or the song's not all the way there. So you guys and Mike Squires here, who's gone from one of the most raunchy, he's still a raunchy guitar player, raunchy, loud, precise, killer.
Let's not get excited with our words about precision.
But it's true. You know how I feel about guitar playing. To, you know, he started, I guess it's Instagram or something. I really started to see that you were also quite a damn good bass player. I'm like, holy shit. Let's go, Mike. You never played bass around me.
Right.
You never said, yeah. I mean, I think you said you played bass.
We had a killer bass player.
Right.
Like, there was no reason for me to ever pick up a bass.
Right.
There were 2 bass players in Loaded that were incredible.
Right. Yeah.
Why would I even look at it?
Right. So Mike's gotten himself some pretty epic gigs playing the bass guitar, to put it mildly. And when this thing started coming together, I asked you, I mean, can you help? There was the gig at Easy Street first off. Right?
Yeah.
Can you help? Can you help a guy out? What are we going to do? What can I do? I got you. You said, I got you. We got Ryan in to play, who plays for Heart and plays for
Sade. Yeah.
Nancy Wilson, Sade. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And he's
Liv Warfield. He's a super badass.
He's badass.
And sweet man.
Comes out of the Prince camp, you know, was in the Prince camp for a while. So having him in the band for the Easy Street gig was killer. I mean, one of Prince's guys, and he's here in Seattle. Like, what the hell?
We had Ryan Burns on keys, who's also a huge talent, and did some recording on the album, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Used a lot of Ryan Burns. But now we've made this band, because of Fielder, we can kind of make it a little leaner and tighter, and because he plays so many other things.
And the truth is, touring with one less person is it doesn't feel like, if you don't think about it as one less person, it's just one less person. Yeah, but if there's 8 people, that's like 15% less people.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know if that's
a little off there, but it's all right. It's 15%.
Maybe it's 12. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, right?
Yeah. 12 and a half.
12. That gig was super fun. And I've said it, I say it to you pretty often. You're probably as a friend, you're probably like, Jesus Christ, I wish Squires wasn't so fucking earnest all the goddamn time. But I feel like sometimes it's really important to state the obvious. And I feel like if I ever feel like I'm being a punisher, I'm always sure to thank you. Like, I'm always like, this is what my workout was today, and I felt like this. Thank you for listening to me.
We can talk about, so we got the band covered, and, you guys, people watching and listen to this, if you come see us play, you can be the ultimate judge of If we got a good,
That's what I think. We're going to
band
deliver
enough?
the goods. The band is going to be fucking shit hot. But thank you for trusting me.
Well, you're really good at it. You like.
But there's a lot of people who are good at music, right? That doesn't necessarily mean shit.
Yeah, but you're also a good. I mean, you organize things. You stay on people to make sure they got this part and that part, and that it's right. And some stuff I don't feel comfortable doing.
Right.
You know, I guess I'm more like, you got it, right? Don't disappoint me, you know?
Do you remember rehearsing for Kimmel? Like there was coming out of the bridge.
We did Kimmel. Right.
We did Kimmel and we had Jamie and Shooter.
Yeah.
And Rock Tim.
Yeah.
And in rehearsal, I just kept fucking botching it. Like we'd only played this, we rehearsed the song like 5 times total, right? Over at Mates.
Right.
Over 2 days.
Yeah.
You're not one to labor, especially like that. You're like, let's not beat a dead horse. Like, let's just go.
That's the
like,
type of thing you don't want to play the song 30 times.
Right.
And then go play it on Kimmel. You want to, it's got to be loose. Everybody knows the song. Everybody knows their parts. You know, hopefully it congeals like perfectly at the time you play the event.
In rehearsal, 3 times in a row, I was stuck in my head trying to hit this harmony, and I was hitting a wrong note coming out of the bridge. And after the second time, you looked at me, and it's a look that I never want. I've seen it before, and I've heard the words. And you looked at me and you said, "You got it?"
Right.
And I was just like, "I haven't." And I never made the mistake again. You know, not because, look, let's just fucking get this straight. Not because I'm afraid of you.
No, but you know, you want to be in a room. I don't know. I think that's all that needs to be said. If you're like, if you consider yourself somewhat of a gangster player, you know, like all you need to say to somebody else, you got it?
Right. All I care about is being trustworthy.
No.
Like,
that's gangster.
Can you trust someone?
No.
Like if you were like, I need your help, we can never talk about this again, I would be there. That's the kind of trustworthy friend I am.
Right. Right.
All right, we covered the band.
We did cover the band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And talking about songwriting, we covered This Is the Song a little bit.
Yeah.
And you've talked about mental health a lot in the past, and you've talked about physical wellness in the past.
Yes.
Like one of the first things I remember seeing when we became friends, I was over at the house. And the Seattle house, even though it was your primary residence at that time,
1999, 2000,
it still was like you weren't completely settled there, right?
Right.
There were a lot of storage rooms, and you just had some thing like you had, you know, gold records leaning against the walls, and you know it was just like
right.
You know, like American Music Award, there's a door stop in the bathroom or whatever. It's just like, well, I'm like, wow, okay. You just hadn't completely situated yourself.
Right.
One of the things I remember seeing there was a image of you doing some kind of fucking high kick for a martial arts magazine. And I was like, you know, you were like doing some roundhouse kick, and someone had captured a photo of you. You were in this magazine. And I was like, what the fuck? And we got to talking, and you told me about Benny.
Yeah.
And I've never met Benny, but I feel like through your stories, I feel like I know him in some way. And there are two things that you told me, 2 stories that you told me that remain important things that I think about a lot. And the first one is very practical, and I apply it all the time, physically and emotionally. The second one is just one of those funny things, like when you walk out of a Rocky movie and you think you can kick someone's ass, and you can't really.
Right.
the first thing is the idea of pain. You know the story, right?
I mean, which story
about putting it in a box?
Oh, yeah, that's my yeah, and that comes from my martial art, and yeah, I mean, pain is I like the Olympics. I like the endurance. I appreciate the 100-meter. I mean, that's fastest man in the world, fastest woman in the world, all that stuff. But the endurance ones are the ones that I know I can hang with because they know about pain. Not that they all don't know about pain, but just the endurance thing to me is like my people. And I started when I got sober. I was dealing with a lot of pain before I got sober, but I would deal with it in other ways. And yeah, well, I mean, a lot of other ways. But getting on a mountain bike, I did it the first day I got home from Northwest Hospital here in Seattle. I got on a mountain bike and I just rode. I was so shaky, Mike, and I was didn't know anybody in AA or the program, or so it was just up to me. So I was riding this bike and I started riding. It was all rusty, wasn't carbon fiber or anything.
You never had a nice bike. Even when we were riding together, you had like some fucking heavy bike.
Yeah.
You were just like, this is how I do it.
This is how I do it. Yeah, no, I like the heavier bike and drag it up the hill. So I started really riding bike and just getting kind of doing the thing to myself, like, pain, you deserve all of this pain. And pain, through pain, it was like, I could find like myself, I was trying to dig down and like, who the fuck am I? Am I alcoholic, drug addict, fucking, I got boils, like my pancreas blew up. I don't have my septum's gone. Like, I didn't aim for this, am I, I got so used to being, you're Duff from Guns N' Roses. Okay, so I'm Duff from Guns N' Roses. That's who I am. Not just Duff. And so these bike rides, which were daily, sometimes 2 days, mostly 2 days, I would try to figure out who I was. And in those first few months, sorry if it's a long story, I met my sensei, Benny, and somebody took me into his dojo, went in the back, and there he was. And there was this thing in his eyes, and he still has it. He could see right through me. And I didn't have to explain to him anything. And to this day, I haven't exchanged paragraphs of words with him. It's yes, sensei, no, sensei. That's it. But it's all about action with him. And he'll do the talking. And he took me in as a student. This is a time when he had world champions in the dojo getting ready for fights in the ring. I would go upstairs, learn how to jump rope. When I went upstairs, you leapfrog up the stairs, go up and figure out how to jump rope, learn how to wrap your hands, how to throw left jab, step jab, step jab, step jab, step jab. Okay, do 200 push-ups, step jab, step, jump rope. Okay, step jab, go back to the stairs. Okay, leapfrog them 20 times. Okay, step jab, 200 times. Okay, get back up.
What did you do for the second hour?
Yeah, no, this is, I didn't get to throw a right cross for months.
Is that right?
Yeah. And it was all defense. It's all defense, because anybody can hit.
And you got knocked out in that. You told me that you got knocked out.
I've been knocked out a few times.
Yeah.
But slowly but surely in that gym, and then he would have to tear my tissue, to get me flexible. So
right,
and I got very flexible, and it was through pain and through assisted stretching, which is a really nice way to put that. And a lot of conditioning.
Yeah.
It was in the valley, on the second floor, no AC.
Hot.
Do the math. It's hot. I still love working out in the heat. But he would say when I was at my most, he's stretching me, you know, you can hear things going, put the pain in a little metal box and let it float away. And my eyes would be closed, let it flow away. Put the pain in the little metal box and let it float away. Let it float away. And it works. You know, and we were meditating, doing these concentration meditations, all of this stuff. So I could really picture this metal box and let it float away. And man, I've used that when Susan had Grace. We did all the martial arts stuff. And we just worked on it when we were doing Lamaze classes and stuff. I'm like, let's do some.
You may have missed your calling as a doula.
Yeah. We did this stuff. And she really kind of took to it. Like, and we did put the pain in the little metal box. She was in labor for like 19 hours or something.
Wow.
So there was a lot of that. But pain is like working out and pain. My daily is just trying to get to that breaking point and then go past it.
Right.
And then I feel like, good.
I did it.
Yeah, I did it. And I can do some work while I'm there, when I'm past the breaking point. And I do I drank a lot, Mike. And
what?
I drank a lot because I was trying to dampen down panic attacks, which they always said this is a side symptom of depression. I'm like, I don't have depression. I have these panic attacks. It's the opposite. And so, I had to figure out in sobriety how to deal with panic attacks. And that became like part 2 of my martial arts. Like, this is what it's really for. Life.
Right.
The square jungle, which is life. You get in the ring and you start fighting and stuff. And that's square jungle. And you're dealing with somebody you don't know. And they could have come off the street. Could be like a gang dude, some angry guy, or somebody's
with an office job that studies whatever. When it doesn't matter, right?
Somebody really scared, Yeah. And all fighters, but you don't know which one you're dealing with today. You don't know who this guy is. And sometimes you got to take it in. All right. And, and deal with it. And that's like life, isn't it? It's just a microcosm of life. You get in the ring and you're ready and you're confident and you got this and you're not afraid. Everything's good. And I try to put that into life and put that into my panic attacks. And, and panic attacks for me did, lo and behold, at like 52, got home from our first big Guns N' Roses stadium tour of the summer. They did America. It was wildly popular, and
go figure.
And people were into it, and my family was having a good time, and it was great. And I thought we played more gigs, and wow, if we made it to Coachella, we'd be good. And then we just played a whole like 4 or 5 months, and it was amazing, and the vibe and the band was great, and so great to be back with the guy. Like we did this. We created this thing, and it's look at us, it's awesome. And so my headspace was great, and I got my what's important to me is my wife and my kids, and everybody's good. My girls, my wife. I'm getting a massage at home, and I'm laying on my front, and Candy, she's our friend, like she's been massaging us for long time, and I've in the cradle thing, and my whole being dives down into the ground and keeps going.
Right.
And I thought something had happened, and I reach up to grab her, and she's like, what's happening? And I'm bawling. I'm crying. I don't know what's wrong. And Susan came in, and we got McBob. They found some through some friends, like a therapist person, and Susan or McBob took me over to the therapist. I mean, I was a mess, and the therapist said, "No, you have to go to a psychiatrist. This is medication." And I couldn't drive. I couldn't do anything. And turns out I got myself into that thing they kept telling me since I was 16, my first panic attack. It's a symptom of depression. There it came. I'm like, so this is not cool.
Right.
It's not cool. And we know friends who have suffered depression, right?
Sure.
And I have panic attacks, so I kind of understand it, but I couldn't understand some of our friends, and I'm like, come on, man, let's just go. Let's go.
Right.
Has nothing to do
Shake
with
it
that.
off.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with that. Mine is a chemical imbalance that, dude, it came out of. I mean, I explained to you where I'm getting a massage after a
Successful
there was no strife in my life. There was no
to the
thing in the background.
Totally opposite.
Totally the opposite. And so I got sought and received psychiatric help, which I still doctor her one time a week. Don't want to go through that again. I had to get heavily medicated for 3 or 4 days, but I got into the dojo. Tim Medbets, who was my security guy at that point, I've climbed mountains with and stuff like that. He was, and he's like, I'm going to get you over to Benny's. He's like, he doesn't understand depression. We're going to get to the dojo. I'm taking you to the dojo. And we got there, and I was a mess, but I, could get some push-ups out, and Sensei could sense this was different. So he's like, we're going to get you through this. It's, you got everything inside you to come through this. And slowly but surely, I think I got through that. And I really believe, if you want to talk about physical fitness, I think all the training I did and do now saved my life. Because if I didn't have all of that, I knew the pain in the metal box and let it float away. I knew I could go past lines that were other people would stop. I knew I could do that. To me, nobody's better than me at doing that. You got to think like that, right? I'm the best one at doing that. I can handle anything. This one, you don't want to say to yourself, I don't know if I can handle this.
Right.
But it sure was creeping in there.
Whatever you tell yourself it will be true.
And my sensei said, he said to me, you're going to be okay. I held on to those words. Simple.
You didn't even tell him anything was wrong.
Tim it was obvious.
Right.
I couldn't tie my shoes, Mike. Couldn't drive.
Yeah.
I was in trouble. And, I've talked to you when I was probably coming out of that, I think. Super scary, but I don't try to get up next to that anymore. I ain't trying to have one of those again.
Yeah.
I had another one, but it wasn't as bad because I'd been through one, and I have these pills. They're pills. They're in my backpack,
Do you recognize?
Oh shit! I actually wrote on them. Oh shit!
Right.
I don't even know what it's called. But I think I have panic disorder, and the other thing, depression. So that I know. So I feel like I'm here to spread the word.
I think it's good. It's big of you. It's important. It's human of you to talk about those things because
it can happen to me.
Anyone is susceptible, and no one should ostracize themselves or outcast themselves for feeling like they are not well and need help.
Right.
So thank you.
Yeah, I'm just a regular guy. Like, if it can happen to me, I'm a thinker. I like to read books. I like humor. I like, stuff. But if it can happen to me, I don't sit there and dwell on dark things.
Regular guy with the biggest rock band in the world.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, so I've been able to talk about it and wrote a song about it. And you know, mental health it's always been important. I think it's getting talked about more now. I don't know if it's helping or not, because there seems to be more and more of it. We see it on the streets, and like, I don't remember being this many schizophrenic people when I was 17, you know?
No, of course it's more.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, I certainly feel like my mental health is directly connected to my physical wellness.
Yes.
And one thing I have always known about myself is that I have great endurance for suffering. I don't mind it.
Yes.
In fact, I probably enjoy it.
Yeah.
Not in a, you know,
sadistic way.
Yeah.
No,
like
I know you enjoy it.
I don't want to go pay someone in a latex suit to say mean things to me and hurt me. But
I mean, those swimmers that are doing anything in the Olympics, they enjoy pain.
Right.
Because the training that goes, that's just daily drudgery.
Yeah.
Or the gymnasts or it's just daily pain and going beyond that point of pain.
I don't mind it because I know that if I go and suffer it for 2 hours a day,
mm-hmm.
the other 22 hours of my day will be better for it.
Yeah.
I will be without that suffering, perhaps other suffering, perhaps not. Yeah. But if you can endure awfulness, awful shit, discomfort, if you can make yourself deal with being uncomfortable, you can deal with kind of anything, right?
Yeah.
Negotiating life's problems is uncomfortable if you are not willing to face it.
Yeah.
The other thing that you said had directly to do with fighting, and I don't like to fight.
Right.
I did almost get in a fight yesterday. Funny story, but it was a gnarly story, and I didn't just take a swing at the guy, which is probably what I would have done 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. I probably would have been like, you're a dick.
Yeah.
And you deserve this. The thing that you told me was, it's not what you can do in the first round. It's what you can do in the 8th round.
Right.
And to this day, when I'm doing my cardio, in the 30th minute, I go up 10%, whatever I'm doing.
Yeah.
If I feel like I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what's going on. I can't hang on. Tough shit.
Yeah.
10% more.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's great.
Do you remember telling me this?
I mean, that is just, I don't remember telling you that exactly, but that is the philosophy, you know, right. of training. You know, we can all come out in that first round and swing wild, you know, like, but it's the duration, how you can pour it on at the end, you know, how much you got. And if you're good at, like, I never save anything in the tank. I deplete my tank, but I got this extra tank.
The thing that I've come to learn about it in myself is that it doesn't really have to do with the physicality, because at minute 30, I, not always, but sometimes feel spent, right?
Yeah.
I feel spent, and it doesn't have to do with the physicality, just like it doesn't have to do with fighting. I don't fight. I don't want to fight ever.
No.
Mostly because I don't want to get hit.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, it's a good reason.
And I don't want to hurt anyone.
Right.
I'm a lover, Duff.
Yeah.
But if things are not awesome in your life, and then something else you get another layer of icing on your cake.
Yeah.
You better fucking get a bigger fork, buddy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's about that, right?
Yeah.
It's not physical. It's a mental game.
That's when you start, like we were talking before, that's when you start doing the work. You start tuning this up, because this is what takes over if you're I can't. You never say that. I can't go any further.
Right.
No, I've just begun, Hey, you suddenly feel like your chest comes up a little bit, and I've only just begun. That other guy quit.
At minute 28, I start to get my second wind, and I almost look forward to it.
Right.
Probably because I love pain.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, working out physically, like I do a lot of different things. Working out, cardio is always a major component for me. I stretch every day. I try to stretch. I stretch every day.
I don't.
No. Yeah. I just want to, really like, since they've been, like, you can lift all the weights you want to, but is that going to help you get off the ground when you're 72 and you fall down? Like,
Right.
I don't know. Let's practice getting up off the ground with just your feet, just your legs. Don't use hands, Okay, great. Well, okay.
Right.
Yeah. You want to be able to get up off the ground. Right now, we can be, all of this and all of that, but you want to be all of this and all of that when you're 72.
Sure.
Right. So that's what I kind of train for. I train for life, not, I like to, feel good and look good. I never look at myself in the mirror, as I said before, but, I like to, that gives you confidence, feeling good, and it helps with other things in life. I've been married now for 25 years, and marriage is it's a give and take, and it's sometimes you miss each other, and miss each other can go on for, some weeks at a time. Back in the day, like, we had little kids, and you're still kind of like, this is mine and this is mine, and it's ours, and
Right.
and not material stuff. I'm not really talking about, but I kind of realized maybe 9-10 years ago, Susan, when she says something to me like, hey, we should go do this, that, and the other, I know she's already thought about me, my best interests, before she's posed this. It's not just some thing like, hey, let's go,
Right.
She's thought about my bit, and it's probably be good for me, whatever she's suggesting. And that's the truth. And she, maybe around the same time, she realized that same thing about me. I've already thought about her. I got her, I've always felt I have, but she's got to believe that too.
Right.
But being physically well and mentally well, really helps in my marriage. It helps me be a dad, which is my most important, accomplishment, and being there for the girls and really like showing them through their life, that I'm their dad. I'm dependable. I'm not going to go off on a, tangent. I'm not going to, I'm here. We can talk whatever you want to talk about. I don't need to tell anybody,
They're not seeing anything you haven't seen.
Right. They won't tell me all this stuff, but like I just let them know, like before they even knew what the word was, like I'm your consigliere,
Sure.
we can figure anything out.
Of course.
Well, no matter how bad it might be able to get, we can figure a way out of this, So I think that's all the martial art trainings is all for that,
Yeah.
being a good husband, good father, good bandmate.
You turned 60 this year.
Yeah.
And, we've already talked about physical and mental wellness. Your band remains active. I got to check this band out at some point.
Yeah.
Your other band.
Yes.
This year, I saw the Rolling Stones for the first time. They're like 107 years old.
Right.
And this year, also, Aerosmith announced their retirement.
Right.
What do you...
Do I think about that?
I'm wondering, how do you see your future? And do
God.
you think about a stopping point? Or are you like, no, this is as a part of the tapestry of my life as anything?
I don't think about a stopping point. I don't understand what that might mean.
Right.
Maybe that's some next level martial arts stuff I'll have to start figuring out when I turn 80. Like, how do I be good to my body, my mind? What's the best things for me? I don't know, because I'm not there yet. Not even close. I still wake up. You just said you turned 60 this year. I'm like, oh yeah, shit, right. That number is a thing.
Right.
I swear, Mike, I wake up and not that I bounce out of bed, because I don't, because I work out so much, I'm sore in the morning. And, but I still think a little smarter, but like when I was 18 or 21 or something, I don't think any different. I'm still, the same stuff is funny to me. And,
Sure.
So I don't know, man. I saw the Stones as well. And, Mick just turned 81, and that guy was floating around on stage.
Ferocious.
Yeah. And I not to, brag, it was like one of those great things in your life that happens. I got invited with Susan out to dinner with Mick and Ronnie the night before their gig.
Right.
So I'm thinking this is a great opportunity for me to watch what these guys eat night before a show.
Yeah.
And I know Mick's, he has a physio guy that he's had for like 35 years. And I had some problems with my ankles and feet on tour. And this guy, he was in London, and he came over to my hotel and took a look at me. He was great. So I know that Mick is really like super in tune with his diet, exercise, stretching, all this stuff. And so I'm like, what's he going to eat?
He had a bacon cheeseburger.
He ate fish and stuff, but he was hungry.
Yeah.
He ate, and then we got into the desserts afterwards. Me, I won't pass up a dessert. And we got we'll just have one of each, like when we got all, and so, me seeing like, okay, he just kind of eats like a regular, nothing spicy, which, for singing, you don't have that the next night. But watching him float around was super inspiring. And Ronnie too, like seeing, I'm like, these guys, and Ronnie survived so much stuff. Lung cancer and another kind of cancer, and getting sober, quit smoking, all this stuff. He's got 2 little girls,
right?
Twins, are 8, and they were with him. And it's kind of magical seeing him like have this second wind in life, but I don't know if he's ever lost his first wind. He's just like a very positive guy. That goes to show you, Said when he got lung cancer, everybody else was kind of freaking out. He's like, well, stop freaking out. Let's get this out and let's get to it. Let's get to fixing this and let's move on, and he did. And he got something else, and the same thing. He's like, well, let's just get it out. And I got stuff to do. Yeah. And, positive mental attitudes is a real thing. So I don't know. Age, I don't think terribly hard about it.
Yeah. What's your plan for 2025? Can you talk about it? Or
there's touring with the big band.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I can't tell you where.
That's fine.
Yeah. I've seen the dates.
Wow, they let you see that? That's great.
They let me see it. So, I'm looking forward to the tour we're going to do. I really am. I got my studio back after the year-long fire fixing, post-fire place. Got in there yesterday. I have a new guitar, that Kingfish.
Yeah.
Sounds killer.
Awesome.
Yeah. I don't know what kind of pickups are in there. It's Fender Kingfish, like kind of half a telly, it's got a Strat.
Full range humbuckers, right? It's just like,
they're nasty.
Yeah.
Nasty sound pickups. So I may take that on tour.
Awesome.
played on some recordings yesterday. But I'm looking forward to doing this tour, and I look forward to I do. It's great.
Yeah.
I'm going on a vacation with my wife and daughters for our anniversary here in August, and it'll be killer. Get to see Steve Jones for dinner, in London. Anytime you get to see Steve Jones. I might go to his band practice because they're playing some Sex Pistols shows with Frank Turner.
Yeah, with that singer.
Yeah.
Will you see that?
No, I won't. I got to leave that day. So I'm going to maybe go to their band practice.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I saw them a few times. We played with them once.
Yes,
festival.
We did. Yeah.
Spain.
Yeah. Spain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
Yeah. Got no more questions.
I don't have any more questions.
Yeah,
we've done everything that we've talked about, all the stuff that I want to talk about. And you're like, I knew this would be great because I've watched you do interviews and listened to you on tour and being around for this many years. And I knew that this would be easy and very human and not like surface level stuff. But as always, your openness
Do you have
is
this
inspiring.
fern here because it's like the between two ferns thing?
It's between two dorks.
Yeah.
Yeah. This, it's for visual texture.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remind me to water it before we leave.
Oh, you should probably water it before you leave.
All of the plants, all the fine greenery.
Yeah. Actually, I have to get home and water my plants.
You water your plants?
Yeah.
I'm going to water my dogs and walk my dogs. And
I got to walk my dog, too.
I have cardio tonight.
Oh, okay.
Because I was supposed to do it fasted this morning, and my schedule. I'm very busy, and I'm quite busy and very important.
You're very busy, quite important.
Yeah.
Yes. No. Whenever I try to get a hold of Mike, I can't get a hold of him. Duff, what is it? I'm very busy and quite important.
Thanks for calling, Duff, but I have to go.
I have to go.
I guess I just want to say thank you for being real and for being a good friend for so long and for being a person that I think that if people are paying attention not to the bigger things, like the big stuff, they're paying attention to the details. You're a person that makes people feel good. And you don't always remember what someone says, right? You remember how they make you feel.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And our friendship, it hasn't always been great because that's not what I needed to hear.
One time I'll end it with this.
Oh, great. Here we go.
Loaded was playing maybe one of our first shows. We played at there's a bar on the Ave.
I know the story.
Some weird gig.
Yeah,
I don't know how we got the gig or why we did the gig.
The stage was in the window.
Yeah,
right?
It was
right on the Ave.
Yeah, we're like, all right, well, we'll do the show, and we played. It wasn't a punk rock. It wasn't an audience. I don't know who they were. Like frat guy. I don't know who they were, but
there were about 35 of them though.
Right.
Yeah.
It was like random, and I don't know if we were any good or not. I don't remember that, but I do remember we were standing. It was hot.
We were always good.
Okay. It was hot, and we were standing out front. I think we'd loaded our stuff out. And all of a sudden, a water balloon hits me. Somebody drove by, and I heard this car driving by. Before I could even look and realize what was happening, you were hightailing up this
uphill
after this car, and you were gonna pull them out of the car, and they suddenly saw you, and you weren't running slow.
Do you remember what happened, Duff?
No.
They took the corner and went around, and they were going up the hill.
Yeah.
And like I registered what happened pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, fuck no.
Yeah.
Fuck you. And like, I'm not that concerned with getting hit with a water balloon myself.
Right. No.
But like Susan was there also. And we were all kind of like, what was that?
Yeah.
And I was like, I knew straight away. And boom, I took off up the hill.
So
I look
fast.
up there. It's a red light. And I'm like, I'm laughing as I'm sprinting.
Yeah.
If you recall, it's the same era that I beat you in a foot race.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it anymore. But
I don't run.
I almost got them. It was a full block. And that was fun.
Yeah.
You
scared them so bad.
I could hear you running behind me laughing. I got all the way to the car and I could hear a dude in the back screaming, "Go, go, go, run the light." It was pretty awesome.
That's that. That was 2000. 2001? I don't know.
I'm still that friend.
No, you still are. I can depend on you. That showed. I'm like, okay, this guy will chase after a car. Okay.
I do not like to be shown aggression. I've dealt with a lot of my traumas, but that's one that I like is it's a little too real.
No. Okay, well, I'm going to go walk my dog as well. Okay.